Hello, friends. Welcome back to another edition of the D1 and Done pod, currently presented by the official Mountain West correspondent, SEC correspondent, and benefactors of the pod, the Hagen Hall Boys. Make sure you interact with us via our social media pages and our email address. It's d1anddonepod@gmail.com. You can leave a like, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Leave us a 5-star rating. As I mentioned on the last pod, we are no longer a 5-star pod, so that means our NIL money is going down the tubes for us. We are now a 4.9-star pod, and it hurts us to say it, but we are coming for that one person that gave us a 1-star review. We may have been a 1-star pod at that time, but we don't believe it. We put 5-star effort and energy into everything we do. So, I am Robbie Donahoe. We are dialed in remotely with Dusty Mills and Nick Mills. If this is your first time listening to the pod, welcome. We love everything college hoops here. Dusty Mills played college basketball at the University of Kentucky and Ball State University. Nick and I flamed out quickly in high school. Nick, not so much quickly. Me quickly. Nick, not so much. He had more success. Yeah, I know. We have to establish the hierarchy here of our basketball ability. Now pool basketball, that's a whole other story that we won't get to for another pod, another day. But regardless, guys, we are getting y'all on a good day because Tuesday night, the Champions Classic was a good one as Kentucky defeats Duke 77-72. Kansas defeats Michigan State 77-69. We'll talk about the Champions Classic. We'll talk about our upcoming schedule of games coming on Friday. We'll reveal our top 25s, our locks for the week and the weekend. We got funnies, we got story times, we got all sorts of stuff coming forward. But first off, let's talk with the former Kentucky player himself, Dusty. I bet last night was probably an out-of-body experience watching that kind of a Kentucky team play against Duke and win a game like that.
It was the game that they lose all the time.
Yeah.
In the last 5 years. And those who listen to this podcast know that I'm a big John Calipari advocate. Had that man's back. Nick and I actually watched the game together with our father, who's from Kentucky himself. I'll just give you an example, and Rob, you're going to have to probably cut this.
Oh, boy.
I texted the guy who runs the K Fund in Kentucky, at UK, and I literally texted him at 11:33 p.m., and my text literally says, or you know what, I don't cut it. I'll just say, let's effing go, is what I texted him.
There we go.
And it was just one of those things where they just have, and I was talking to my dad about this today, they have not won games like this in so long. I mean, Nick, you can pop in on this. They don't win SEC tournament games. They obviously have the upsets in the NCAA tournament. I know they had that big one over North Carolina 2 years ago. They just do not win big games. And finally, like Pope finally did something at halftime. I mean, they're down 9.5, and normally it's like, okay, well, we'll just stroll along and lose by 5. But Mark Pope should be talked about today, and he's not on the national anthem because college basketball is, not a big thing for March. But it was amazing to watch that last night. That team to come together and just win. So, Nick, I'll let you touch on that.
All right, thanks for being touched on this crap. To Dusty's point, Kentucky is 1-6 in this Champions Classic last 7 years.
Wow!
And their one win was against Michigan State in 2020, I guess it would be. And the reason I bring that up is they lost to Evansville 2 games later. So it's just been chopped and starched to them for basically this past almost full decade. To Dusty's point, the only other big non-conference win you didn't mention was that game at Kansas 2 years ago, and they beat the doors off them.
Yeah.
But other than that, it just feels like they've lost all these kind of games, and that's just kind of my first takeaway. It just felt so good. I know it's November. There's going to be highs and lows. We all know the whole ordeal. Duke's, I think, still really good, but it just felt good, man. And just the way they did, like Dusty, they made adjustments. They're behind most of the games. They just played hard. I mean, their 4 guards, Butler, Owe, Robinson, and Kirk Risa, were 9 of 30 from the field. Robinson got you 1 point, and they just kept going at them, and it just felt great. I know it's not the best analysis, but like Dusty said, just the way it's been the last couple of years. Again, not like they're missing tournaments, but just they've lost this game so many times, and just what a great way for Mark Pope, his 3rd game as alma mater, to beat Duke, who they had lost 9 or previous 11 against, by the way.
Wow!
So it's great for him all around. He's interviewing KSR afterwards, which again, not to bring up our boy JC, Mr. Calipari, but that relationship, was non-existent, and it could not be much better for Kentucky and Mark Pope. 3 games into it, and again, famously, me and Dusty and most of BBN, when it first got announced, we could not have been, more peeved about the hire. But again, 3 games in, a lot can change, but you can't ask for much more. Hell yes.
I will be honest, as an onlooker from the outside, you guys needed this euphoria. You needed this start to a season because, again, there was plenty of criticism to Mark Pope coming in, a guy that doesn't have a ton of head coaching experience, and his style of play isn't always conducive to being successful on a big stage. But to see it play out this way, and Nick, you touched on it, Jackson Robinson scored 1 point, and Kentucky still won the basketball game. That should say everything about this team, that they can win a game without arguably their best player playing at his best.
Rob, can I touch on that too? So Jackson Robinson, the thing that I love about him is scored 1 point and showed no negative emotion.
No, he didn't.
Leadership aspect that came into that, and I think that's what makes the team great.
And I will. You touch on it. The team. This Kentucky team feels like, for the first time in a long time, they feel like a cohesive unit. They feel like a team. It doesn't feel like we're playing 2-man game or pick and roll every single time down. There's ball movement. There's rotation. We're not sticking to one side of the floor.
There's inbounds plays. We run inbounds plays.
There's inbounds plays. It's not just lobbing to the big man that's sitting on the elbow. It is funny how things work out in life, because right after Kentucky gets this big of a win, and we saw this past weekend Arkansas have a complete dud against Baylor in true Calipari fashion that looked almost eerily similar to all the games that he used to lose while he was at Kentucky. So it feels right across the board. I'm so excited for you guys, especially just for the last decade of how difficult it's been being a Kentucky fan and seeing how good the teams have been and how short they continue to fall. It feels like this team, while, again, it's still very early and there's still a lot to shake out, this team feels different. And the fact that you endured 26 points and 12 rebounds from Cooper Flagg and still found a way to win, outscored Duke 40-26 in the second half. There are so many numbers that are so impressive that Kentucky found a way to win this game, because you guys both touched on it. This is a game that Kentucky loses 9 out of 10 times under John Calipari, maybe 10 out of 10 times under John Calipari, and they find a way to get it done. That says a lot about where this team is going.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And to your point about Pope, the questions about him going in, again, his last few years at BYU last few years when they're in the WCC, they were 16-15 conference play overall.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was a slam dunk hire by any means, but yeah, I have nothing to add to everything. It was just awesome. They're down the whole game. And even on the Duke side, I thought they looked real. The last 14 minutes of the first half, Duke looked really good. And for them just to battle back, and like you said, 26 points they gave up in the second half on defense, and because the defense looked really bad for Kentucky the whole first half. So hell yes.
Let's touch on the Duke side of things. I'll do 2 things. First off, Cooper Flagg, real deal. Can we all say it after that kind of a performance?
Yeah, he's a baller, but I will say with him, he had 3 turnovers, and all 3 were in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, he turned it over? In the game?
I didn't know. ESPN didn't talk about it for the last, 12 hours. Gosh.
Don't get me going to the national media right now.
Yeah.
But there's, and I'm giving the kid credit when I say this. He's still 17, I believe. Right?
Yeah, he is. Or he might have turned to 18.
December 21st, he turns to 18.
He's very young.
Okay. So there has to be something to say about being that.
You can't vote.
But he was a baller. Let's not lie about it. The guy can play.
And he was getting no help the second half either. He basically had to do everything for him that whole second half.
Con Canopel is another dude that did not. He 5 for 20 from the field. That's not going to cut it. Tyrese Proctor, he is what it is. He is what he's going to be. It hurts my heart so much to see Mason Gillis playing in a Duke uniform. It hurts so much. I'm happy for him because he can continue to play in college and he can get some NIL money, but I feel like a piece of me dies every time I see Mason Gillis touch the basketball wearing a Duke uniform. And that's Mason Gillis, former Purdue Boilermaker, Newcastle, Indiana native. So, but regardless, across the board, great game. Kentucky has to be ecstatic, but still, again, as you mentioned, long way to go. This doesn't continue. This doesn't. They haven't won any championships yet. They have not done anything outside of winning 3 games to start the season. There's a long way to go. But the way you watch this team play, Lamont Butler was great. I thought he did his job last night. Andrew Carr, as you mentioned, Kobe Bryant stepped up and hit some big threes. Kirk Kriisa had no turnovers, which I thought was Robbie. The biggest stat. If he can come in and play his game, now he did force up a couple bad shots, but no turnovers. You take that every single time out if you're a Kentucky fan. So
I love his role in this team. As long as he just does not go nuclear in a bad way. I love in a team that like no one knows each other. They've never played each other before. You need someone I think like on the team to bring kind of energy to it.
Nick, it's funny you say that. For a team that knows very little about each other and does not have a lot of experience with each other, they play as if they do, and that's probably the fun part about this team is just the ball movement. It's almost as if they're playing a completely different game compared to what they've been the last 10 years under John Calipari. So, yeah, as a non-biased observer, it was really fun to watch Kentucky last night. So, definitely excited to watch the Wildcats going forward. Let's talk about the other game from the championship.
Wait, Robbie, real quick on the Duke side, just one more thing.
Sure.
Yeah, their upcoming schedule. First of all, again, I'm not worried about Duke going forward, just for the record.
No.
But their schedule coming up. They played Kentucky last night. Oh, my word.
I just saw the schedule. Whoa.
Yeah, so Kentucky, then they get Wofford, who can decent teams over the years. And then at Arizona, I don't know if it's a neutral site, but they play Kansas afterwards, then Seattle, and they play Auburn. So they play 4 top 20 teams, 3 top 10 teams in the 6-game span. So.
The Kansas game is in Vegas.
Okay.
And then the game against Auburn is at home. So they'll have so they got then
they get Louisville right after it.
Yeah.
A load conference game.
I mean, the ACC is not great this year, but my goodness, like that stretch of games, that's going to be.
Did you guys say Arizona too?
Yeah, Arizona coming up in almost. It'll be next Friday. They'll play at Arizona. Yeah. So
all right. So I have one final thing about Duke as well.
Okay.
Our boy Khan. How do you say his last name?
Knuppel, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep, I have no idea.
Hit the tanning bed.
You too, Robbie.
Little pale. Whoa, hold on. No. You can't just take parting shots at me. Come on now. Can't
I know.
do that.
I'm trying to slide that in there.
All right. Speaking of taking shots, can we be honest for a moment? Why is Michigan State still in the Champions Classic when they haven't won a title in 25 years? Or I'm sorry, let me be specific, 24 years. Why is Michigan State still in this? Why is UConn not in this? Can we be real here? I mean, it's called the Champions Classic.
Perfect replacement. I like that idea.
Yeah, I don't understand why we keep Michigan State in, or maybe when Tom Izzo leaves, maybe they'll sub Michigan State in for UConn, and then it'll get real crazy real fast.
2 things I say on that. One, this has been extended through 2028 with these teams, so nothing will change there.
Right.
And 2, someone made a good point on Twitter. I don't know who said it. The Big Ten and ESPN no longer have like a contract with each other.
That's true.
And ESPN wants to get Michigan State on ESPN as much as they can, since they can't usually otherwise.
It feels like it feels like ESPN and the Big Ten kind of have wanted to have a clean break completely. So I am kind of surprised that they've wanted Michigan State to stay in this, and they haven't gone out and gone like a UConn or heck, even like an Arizona. I know Arizona hasn't won since '97, but I mean they're kind of in the same boat as Michigan State. So yeah.
Can I say too, as someone and Dusty's been to this event too, it's nice to have a non-blue team there. It's very confusing who's rooting for what team in that building.
Yes.
At a lot of times. Lots of blue.
Yeah. It just,
again.
I
will say that Kentucky fan base definitely showed up last night.
Yeah, they absolutely. Well, again, Lexington to Atlanta, that's not a long way. And yeah, Catlanta showed up, and to no surprise, they showed out for sure. But let's talk about this Kansas-Michigan State game. 77-69, Jayhawks winners. Hunter Dickinson did show up in this game. 28 points, 12 rebounds, 13 for 21 from the field. He did this too small gesture after a goaltending call, which I thought was hilarious. Very on brand for him. Kansas is currently the number 1 team in the nation. Do we buy Kansas as the number 1 team in the nation right now?
They're number 2 for me.
Okay.
I mean, they've got nothing from AJ Store so far.
Yeah.
I think that'll change. Yeah, I still think they're on that top tier. I will say they didn't get much last night. Their bench has been really good. In the North Carolina game, they got 40-plus points off the bench. I don't know if you guys remember last year. They basically had 3.5 players last year. So they built up and improved that this year. So, I think still – I don't know if they're number 1, but I think they're in that top tier. So.
It's wild that AJ Store is only playing 12 minutes. That doesn't feel right. Like, he was Wisconsin's best player by far last year, and I know he's a bit of a head case, but regardless, it's crazy that kind of a talented player is coming off the bench. Flory Badunga is perfect for them off the bench. He can go out and be a bull in a china shop and do whatever he wants. He only had 1 rebound, which I'm shocked by, but he did have 6 points. Dusty, what stood out from you from that game? Do you think Kansas still has a case to be the number 1 team in the nation right now?
I do. I mean, I put them at number 3 in my top 25 this week.
Yeah.
Dickinson, as much as, I mean, I'll be blunt, he's annoying as hell. And I'm sure he knows that as well.
He does.
Yeah, he absolutely does. They just play so well, and Bill Self is such a good coach.
Right.
And it's amazing how he just keeps putting these teams together every single year. They're so good. It's a team I wouldn't want to play. If I'm just going to say, as a Kentucky fan, I would not want to play.
Hot take.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I need to watch more of them. I'm actually kind of intrigued as you say that. I was actually looking up and my computer froze. Kansas's schedule coming forward.
They got Duke, Creighton, Missouri, NC State.
UNC, Michigan State. They've already played those 2 teams too.
Yeah. Here's a tasty one. They play at Cincinnati January 11th. So
what day of the week is that?
Let me check.
I might have to go to that.
Do you want to go to that game? Hey, Nick, it's a Saturday. Road trip? Road trip?
I might.
Oh, hey, wait. No, I have a road trip for you guys. Sunday, just 22nd. My Brown boys.
Oh!
I need to word that better.
Don't bring radio.
Yeah, let's.
Plays Kansas.
Brown plays Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse on Saturday, December 22nd, 3 p.m.
ESPN.
Right before Christmas.
I love that. That's great. Wow. So, but yeah, over. So I guess maybe yes, Kansas has the right to be number 1. I think we're okay with that. I honestly probably took a little bit more away from Michigan State in this game. A team, they shot 3 for 24 from 3, and they were right in this game at the end. So are we underrating Michigan State?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is the thing I got out of that game, and I only saw the second half, unfortunately, because I had to work with them before. I feel like Michigan State gets the Izzo treatment now, where we all love Tom Izzo, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they just have not really been good in the last, let's say, 6-7 years.
They've been very above average. Like they've been solid.
2019, they were a 2C Final Four. I'll say it's the last time they were.
Correct. Yes, that 19 Michigan State team was really good.
Cassius Winston was awesome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Their starters were 9 of 36 from the field last night, and Akins was awful. So you assume he's going to play better. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm just not really sure what to make of them. And we mentioned that I think it was our preview show. Maybe it's just they're just they're not bad, they're not great. They're just I don't know. They're just kind of a weird lull. And real quick, I want to say this earlier. Go back to Kansas real quick. Jesse Self got his 591st win at Kansas.
I saw that. Yeah.
Past Paul Gallen. Which, by the way, side note, do you guys know James Naismith's record at Kansas by chance?
Oh, under 500.
It was under 500, yeah.
Yep, 55-60.
That's crazy.
For the record. So,
wow.
Yes.
Poor James.
Is that the only person in the world that has something named after them with a below 500 record as a coach?
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, we got to figure that one out. That's going to take a lot of research. But it's hard to really decide what Michigan State is going to be this year. This does feel like kind of a prototypical Izzo team that they're just gonna try to make the game ugly. They're going to be physical. Cohen Carr is a highlight superstar, but I don't know how great of a ball player he is. They got Jason Richardson, kid Jace on the team, who's a really solid player. Trey Holloman was a guy that I thought was kind of going to be their next really, really good point guard, and they bring him off the bench now. Jeremy Fears was really solid. I thought he was good, but Jaden Akins continues to just be a conundrum. Like, he was a guy that they brought in as a freshman and they were expecting to take a big leap last year, and he's just been a solid player. He hasn't been that takeover kind of guy that they've been hoping he could turn into. And also another guy that was a no-show, Xavier Booker had no points, 1 rebound. For a guy that's 7'1", that's embarrassing, honestly. So I don't know what. Yeah, very highly recruited. So there's a lot of questions about both these teams. I think we learned Michigan State can be competitive with just about anyone, but you kind of wonder what their ceiling is going to be. Are they going to be another one of those round of 32 teams? I feel like Michigan State is always going to win that first round game and then run up against a big time team and lose by 6 to 8 points. It feels like that's kind of how it shakes out every single year with them, and I just wonder if Izzo's starting to hit his ceiling of the potential of his program now.
Well, Rob, you're asking what their ceiling is. We may not really find out until February 11th. They played 2 ranked teams in that span. 2 ranked teams until February 11th.
Yeah, so looking at their schedule, my gosh. Bowling Green, Samford, Colorado, Minnesota, Nebraska, Oakland, Knicks, FAU Owls, Western Michigan. That's their next 8 games. They may win all 8.
They don't play a top 16 team until February 11th.
Well, the problem is the issue is the Big Ten's just not very top heavy this year. They don't
have another big non-con game at all.
Right. So. Michigan State's going to be an interesting team going forward and see what they can kind of turn into with this non-conference schedule that isn't really super challenging across the board. So, but yeah, that was the Champions Classic. I thought it was, again, it's always a great event. It's always really fun to watch. It's early season, top tier basketball. And 2 really good games. Obviously, the second game was fantastic. So that was part of the reason why we wanted to get this midweek map out going. But also, we wanted to talk about some other results that maybe jumped off the page. And I will, if you guys don't mind, I would like to start. And I
have breaking news before we get
breaking news. Ooh.
Oh,
not breaking news. Very, very outdated news. But so
the exact opposite of breaking news.
Yes.
Yeah. Outdated trophy name. So Larry O'Brien, do you guys know that he never played or coached basketball?
Really?
Commissioner?
Was he GM or commissioner?
Commissioner has to be.
Commissioner, yeah.
Okay.
And actually in the parade that John F. Kennedy got shot at.
What?
Yeah. So there you go. Now take over.
Hey, I have another side. Who killed JFK? Can we talk about down the pod? Do you guys think it was?
Brian, because he was present.
This is what happens when I let the inmates run the asylum. Okay, I try to make this a kid-friendly show, and then we are going to start talking about conspiracy theories.
I'm historical facts.
And I just asked a question about one of our
This isn't a history. Well, I appreciate the fun facts, but we're not talking about political history. We're talking about sports history. Okay, so let's get. Hey, this is what we call a segue. Let's get the train back on the tracks, and let's talk about the team of trains, and that's the Purdue Boilermakers. That's the team that I want to start talking about because I want to be honest with you guys. I'm scared. I don't know how good this Purdue team is going to be this year. And it worries me a little bit. Now, the big story of the last week or so was the injury to freshman Daniel Jacobson, their 7'3" freshman who broke his tibia, kind of a freak accident. It looked like they just banged knees, and at the end of the day, it was a broken tibia. So he's done for the season. So it'll kind of be a big man by committee for this Purdue team. It'll be Will Berg kind of starting, but he is what he is at that point. You're also going to see Raleigh Burgess, another freshman. Caleb First, who's been a good role player for them, was great as a freshman and kind of has trailed off since then. This Purdue team struggles mightily defensively. They are not a very good defensive team. Their weak side help defense is atrocious, and that's putting it mildly, but It's how good they are offensively they're going to have to outscore teams to start this season. They've got some good defenders, but I worry about them going forward. Are they a Sweet 16 caliber team? Maybe. Are they ranked too highly right now? Like right now they're at 13. I think that's way too high. I think they have so many question marks and so many issues, but the guy that covers up most of the issues is Braden Smith. And he flirted with the triple-double against Yale. And, I mean, there's a reason why I put him first-team All-American, because he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to have to do a lot for this team to be as good as they can be. You guys have obviously watched a little bit of Purdue. Am I right to be fearful going forward with this team and where they are? Because Friday they have a rather large game.
Well, first of all, Robbie, I like that you said they're too high at 13 as I moved them from 15 to 12.
Right, I know. You guys all moved them up. I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but I respect it. I respect it.
At the same time, Braden Smith, who I assume is a huge follower of the show, I owe you a gigantic apology. I'll hate you, Creighton. But
so you want me to go Shaquille O'Neal? I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game.
Yes, I was a baller. Overly respectful, and I actually really enjoy watching him. I don't think you have much to worry about. It's kind of like the Kentucky or Duke thing we were talking about, where it's just like give them time.
Yeah.
You have a leader who's gonna get that team together, coordinate things, and it's one of those things where it's like in November, December, you may let's say you walk into January Big Ten play. Now you probably have the Big Ten game before that. You walk in at, let's just say I'm going to make up a record 11-2 or something like that. But at least you have someone who's been through it, been to a national championship game, understands it. I know the injury is not ideal. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But you have a leader, and that's the most important thing for Purdue.
For sure.
So I would not about it.
I will say, as much as Purdue fans want to gripe and whine about, injuries, that we continue to be bad luck, Purdue has had a pretty good run of injury fortune over these last 3-4 years, so it was bound to come back to bite us at some point. But I will say this for Purdue, on their behalf, their 3 wins are against 3 tournament caliber teams that won't be they're kind of the low mid-major level, because Corpus Christi, now McNeese is probably going to win the Southland, but Corpus Christi's probably going to play in the tournament championship game. Northern Kentucky is always there at the end playing in the they're in the Ohio Valley, correct, if I'm not mistaken?
Horizon,
that's right. But so they're always at the championship game in the Horizon. And then Yale, I don't know if Dusty remembers this, but they won the Ivy League last year. So that's 3 teams that are capable of winning their conference tournaments that Purdue has had to really kind of fight and kind of battle with a bit to win. So there, you can take away that, but I think one of the biggest takeaways through these 3 games is how good Zach Edey was and how he kind of covered up a ton of the flaws of this team. Because right now, teams are feasting off Purdue in the paint. They are, whatever they want to, they are getting to the rim and finishing, and they don't have anything to worry about when they get there. So that's where it worries me going forward with this team, that if they play that kind of a team going forward, it's going to be ugly.
Robbie, one question for you. So without Jacobson, you don't have like a 7-footer in the rotation, right?
We do. Wilberg 7'1". Okay,
darn, I was about to ask. Do you think the last time Kentucky had no one and done for Purdue to have a 7-footer in the same year? That would probably. It has been a bit. Like 30 years.
Yeah. So before AJ Hammonds, that was the last time I think Purdue did not have a 7-footer in their lineup, and that was 15, 16 maybe. So it's been a bit. The problem for Purdue going forward is, and this is an opportunity to talk about the upcoming schedule, because right now Purdue has. This is, oh my gosh, this gives me anxiety just looking at this future schedule. They play Alabama on Friday. They play Marquette next week. After that, they play Marshall. Then they play NC State, at Penn State, the mausoleum that is Penn State, Maryland, Texas A&M, Auburn. I mean, it is. I knew last year's non-conference schedule was like Purdue may end up with 5 losses, 4, maybe even 4. Well, 5. Let's see. I don't think they beat Alabama. I don't think they beat Marquette. They'll beat NC State. I'd say 4 losses going into the new year. And remember, Purdue has one of the longest non-conference winning streaks in history of college basketball. Purdue may lose 4 or 5 games when we get to the year 2025. And that's a little frightening, to say the least.
Good on Painter. That's
I mean, let's be blunt, Robbie. You're also a pessimist. So, and I'm not saying that in a mean way, but
I'd say I'm more of a realist than a pessimist at this point.
nope.
Fine, whatever you want. Okay, pessimist. What are some other games then? I mentioned Purdue, Alabama. That's coming up on Friday. That's going to be a great game. It is at Mackey Arena, so maybe there's an opportunity for the Boilermakers to see if they can get some Mackey magic going on. What other games stand out for you guys this weekend? We got a couple decent ones, but I want to see if we can circle some other good ones.
Wait, are we talking about results that happened, or you want to look ahead?
I'm sorry. So, yeah, what are some other results that stood out? What are some...
Dusty, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, other results that stood out to you guys. I'm sorry.
Results. I was looking at the future. I was going to say, honestly, I can't use those, but 2 games on Friday I'm also pumped about. Actually, 3 games. Florida State.
That'll be good.
Is always a fun game, which is in Tallahassee. Arizona is playing Wisconsin. And also Ohio State, Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So Friday night's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, Friday night's got some good games. Nick, what were some other games then that stood out to you? I think I know one of them that you're going to mention.
Yeah, I know we're trying to do a short pause. I'm just going to rip through notable results just so we
go for
touch on. Kansas beat UNC on Friday, 92-89.
Yep.
That was a good game. New Mexico upset UCLA, 72-64.
Lobos!
And my Bruins go down, or my Bruins in quotations, go down. Tennessee drubbed Louisville on Saturday, 77-55.
Yeah.
The Louisville starters, 2 of them did not score, none of them reached double digits. So tough for Louisville. Auburn beat Houston, 74-69, which we'll talk about that in Nick's Funny.
Oh, I can't wait.
That, we could probably save that for the end. Hilarious. St. Joe's beat Nova last night.
Oh, my gosh.
Good Lord, Nova. That's their 8th loss to a Ken Palm team under 100 in the Neptune era. Oh, boy. And then, yeah, the big one, at least for this pod, Baylor beat Arkansas 72-67. Once again, a zone and pick and roll confused John Calipari, and it did not go well. Good on Baylor. Going 1-1 against Gonzaga and Arkansas, I think you take every time.
Oh, yeah.
Deuce Farrow, apparently they emphasize on the broadcast, apparently that's how you say his last name. Not Sierra.
Deuce Farrow?
That's what they kept saying. They emphasized it.
Wow,
so,
okay.
So, but yeah, good one for Baylor going 1-1. Adu did look good for Arkansas, but yep, looked like a very much John Vincent Calipari basketball game. God love him.
And I'll throw out one more result before we jump into the upcoming schedule. McNeese hung around with Alabama. I know last year McNeese, Will Wade was kind of the darling going to the tournament. They were a trendy 12-5 upset, and they just got absolutely worked by Gonzaga in that first round. McNeese brought back almost their entire team. So if you want a lower-seeded team to watch out for, McNeese is going to be one because they hung tough with Alabama in that game in Tuscaloosa. So, and that's another thing. I know Purdue's played some close games. Alabama hasn't really looked all that dominating their first 3 games. They blew out UNC Asheville, only beat Arkansas State by 9, and then only beat McNeese by 8. So
they beat Arkansas State by 9?
Yeah, 88-79. So it feels like, I know we kind of want to, and I think it was tied at 68 with 7 minutes to go in that Alabama-Arkansas State game, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe this is kind of a situation where Alabama's kind of going through a feeling out period of, what kind of team do we got here? We got all the talent, or how good are we going to be? Just wait for Mark Sears to wake up coming up on Friday when they go to Mackey Arena and play Purdue. Watch them make 23s in that game. That's probably what's going to happen. Okay.
Can I throw something now about
sure
our games? So we put this on our social media. So I was actually at the IU Eastern Illinois game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have been more disappointed in the IU crowd.
Oh,
shots
fired.
Yeah, I'm saying it right now. So we were about, I think, 15, 16 rows behind the benches. The upper deck on the other side completely empty. Well,
Dusty, I got to be honest with you right now. You're talking about a football school, not a basketball school.
I know. That's not fine. So I don't. I don't want to hear these people that complain about their team all the time, and you're not even showing up for a damn game. Get the hell out of here, IU fans. Joe, I'm talking to Joe Steele right now.
No, Joe!
Yeah, because guess what? Joe didn't go to the game. Because we're
Unbelievable.
supposed to go afterwards, and he decided not to go because it's just Eastern Illinois. You go to the damn game. Yeah! You go to the game.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, you got season tickets. You go to that damn game. I drove round trip 2.5 hours to go to that game for a game I didn't care about. And you guys were down at halftime against Eastern Illinois. Like, get your stuff together if you're going to be an IU fan.
Wow. Folks,
Point. There was a lot of empty seats.
there were. What's funny is the attendance says 17,222. By the way,
No, it was 17 people.
Fake news.
Can we focus on the game real quick? What did you think about IU? Yeah,
that's my seen Balu in person. He is a baller.
Yeah,
so they got a good transfer there.
Wait, did Balu play?
he had 17 points, 9 rebounds. Yeah,
The big boy?
yeah.
I was told he didn't play. Oh, one of my friends lied to me.
No, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, your boy probably wasn't at the game.
Oh,
Good point, Trav. Good point.
love it.
All right, I'm done.
Okay, last thing on IU. Were you impressed with them at least second half? I mean, they ran away with that one.
I'm pulling up right now. I think they scored 50-plus points in the second half. There it is.
Yeah, 54 second half, yeah.
418. Yeah, I mean, the thing with them is they look lethargic as hell. So my guess is they're all at sports celebrating the football win until 8 a.m. But they're a solid team. They're a team that would not, want to really play. I feel like they're a team that here's my prediction right now on November 13th. They are going to end up with like a 4 seed, and they're going to get nixed by like a 12 seed in the second round.
Wow. Should we, you want to lock that in?
Wait, Crab, you're already calling a 12 seed to the 316?
I am.
On November 13th?
Tell me to push the lock button. I have my finger on it.
Okay. Well, can I think of it's going to be Farley Dickinson.
Lock it.
I don't know.
Lock it.
IU's going to have a high seed. I think they're going to do pretty well in the Big Ten. They're so talented.
Yeah, they really are.
But what Woodson does freak me out. Yeah, they're gonna get a high seed. Hell, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 6 seed and they lose to.
No. Crab, you're locked in.
Okay. Yeah, 4 seed lose to a 12 seed in the second round.
There you go.
It's not Farley Dickinson. I'm going to find someone.
How about
else.
How about you want to make it Cornell or Yale? Make it an Ivy team. Get a 12 seed.
Well, that'd be Brown.
Or Brown. I'm my apologies, Brown. So give Brown a 13 seed. They're going to make it.
So we have to change that. So
okay, that's fine.
Let's move forward.
Okay, let's move forward. Let's look ahead to the games coming up this week and weekend then. As we mentioned Friday, ton of really good games. We mentioned Florida State, Alabama, Purdue. Marquette, Maryland's a pretty decent game. That's going to be in College Park. Gonzaga will be at home to UMass Lowell. We mentioned Arizona, Wisconsin, and Ohio State, Texas A&M. Those are both 2 really good games as well. IU will have South Carolina. Their only real tough non-conference game that they're going to have outside of Atlantis. Ole Miss has an undefeated Colorado State team. Look out, everyone. Watch out for the Rams. Ole Miss has been playing pretty average lately. Almost got beat by Grambling at home, which would have been shocking. Kansas gets our old friend Oakland at the Allen Fieldhouse, which should be fun. Creighton has Kansas City coming up on Saturday. And then Sunday's games. Sunday, get your behind to FS1 at noon for New Mexico St. John's at the Garden. Like, that one is going to be fun. If you want another tasty one, don't look now. Austin Peay is 3-0, and they have beaten Butler and Chattanooga to get there. They are going to be at Tennessee on Sunday at 3 p.m. So there's a couple really decent games on the schedule. Any other ones that I'm missing, guys?
No, I do think we should get too into it. But you mentioned Florida. There are, if people don't know, Todd Golden, the head coach at University of Florida, there was a independent newspaper at Florida that, two unnamed women claimed that stuff like, like serious stuff like stalking and cyber stalking, but I think we just had to address that going on. And he's still currently the coach, and he says he's cooperating with investigators right now. So just for people who don't know out there, he is still the coach at the University of Florida.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one as well. I guess Sunday, Utah plays Mississippi State. By the way, that's a doubleheader, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, in 2 days. They're both going to play in South Haven, Mississippi, kind of at a quasi-neutral site for those games. But and then we might as well mention. Well, I guess we'll probably do a pod this weekend. But the Monday slate, if I get an opportunity to see it, we get an opportunity to see how high Indianapolis is going to do against Iowa State. So get fired up for that one. That would be interesting. Let's go through our top 25s real quick. We'll just talk about, I guess, kind of the surprises. We'll post these top 25s on our social media pages coming up tomorrow. That's Thursdays when we'll post them. Nick, any big changes for yours that you want to mention?
I also bumped Kentucky up from 22 to 10.
That's right.
And for this is always tough because you don't want at least for me personally, don't try to overreact or punish teams for playing hard. Like I don't want to punish Duke or Baylor for losing the teams early, playing hard teams. So I don't change too much. I would say I dropped A&M a little lower, Ohio State up for their results, and I added VCU to the top 25.
Rams, baby. Oh, they're good.
I think they're really good. I believe there's 36 at KenPom. They have my guy
Max Shulga, baby. Dude's a baller.
He's awesome. He's the only starter who's not in double digits on Friday when they whooped on BC, and because he had 9 points, 10 rebounds. Give me VCU.
Yeah,
Havoc.
Love the Havoc of VCU. Yeah, they're a scary team. Watch out for them in the A10. Dusty, any surprising outside of giving votes to Detroit Mercy that we need to be surprised with on your poll?
I gave those to Detroit Mercy, who have doubled their win total from last year.
Yeah! Let's go!
You're following them last year. They were winless. They won one game last year. They're 2-1 this year.
Big time.
R.I.P. Mike Davis. Not actually R.I.P., but his coach.
Yeah, we know.
Besides that, Nick in our production meeting mentioned that I took Texas from number 10 to out of the rankings.
Kick rocks, horns.
Yeah, I feel like if you lose a game to a mascot that's a nut, you don't nut that brags about being in the top 25. You don't deserve to be in the top 25. So that's also Josh Ohio State. He's not in my top 5. That's about it. I've Gonzaga number 1. Houston fell to 9. I'm bullish on them still, but until they re-sign Alex Bregman, we'll see.
I will say a couple other big ones from your poll, Dusty. You have Rutgers at 18, New Mexico at 19. Those were a couple big ones as well. My poll, so I had Purdue, I believe, in the top 10. I dropped them all the way to 19, but they're still ahead of IU, so we just want to make sure we get the gist of that there. I got to be honest, I really, really, really like Illinois. I think they're going to be scary. Dang it! Scary good. Your
phone won't let you talk good about Illinois, Rob.
Apparently not. The college basketball gods don't want me to say anything good about Brad Underwood's team, but Illinois looks really good, man. They got a lot of really good pieces that I think they're going to be a nightmare to play for this year in the Big Ten. So Illinois was my big riser. I did push Auburn up to 5. Let's see what else. I bumped Cincinnati into my top 25. I had to. They've looked really good so far. So I did put Kentucky up to 9. I had them ahead of Duke, obviously. Which, by the way, that's another thing to talk about. If you have a vote in the coaches or the AP poll, and you don't vote a team ahead of the team that they just beat, especially if they're 2 top 25 teams, you're doing something wrong. They showed that they're the better team. Rank them ahead of them. Now, it's obviously different if you are, like if Villanova was ranked and they lose to St. Joe's, you're not going to rank St. Joe's ahead of Villanova. That's just weird. But it's the principle of it. Just something a mini rant of sorts on that front.
Agreed.
Okay.
The college football rankings do a bad job of that sometimes, too.
That they do. Let's get some locks in. Nick, I want to start with you. What's going to happen for your lock this week?
Keeping it simple, by the way, I'm the only one undefeated this year, just for the listeners at home.
You did. Purdue covered easily the 18.5, so well done.
gambling is very easy. Gamble responsibly.
Correct.
Or not. Doesn't really affect my day. I just kind of went with my logic. New Mexico got the big win against UCLA, but now they have to travel across the country against St. John's.
Ooh.
Give me the Johnnies in all the points.
Johnnies to cover. Love it from Nick. All right, Dusty, what's your lock of the week?
My lock of the week. My lock of the week is in honor of my wife who just walked into the room a second ago.
Hi, Haley.
Hi, Haley.
Well, she's gone now, so. But
Oh,
thank
bye,
you.
Haley.
Bye, Haley.
The 2-1 IU Indianapolis. There's going to be, but they play tonight or tomorrow at 6:30 against Eastern Michigan.
Ooh.
No matching going down that night. IU Indianapolis money line right now.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. IU Indy money line over Eastern Michigan. You may get some good odds on that one.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So Dusty and I both missed our locks last week. Kalkbrenner, go kick rocks, buddy. 6 rebounds against a team that doesn't have a 6'9" player. Come on.
I know. I could not believe that, Robbie. I think it was Tuesday morning. I was curious about it, and I just looked it up. It's 6 rebounds, right?
Yeah, 6 rebounds. I didn't even want to post about it. I'm just so mad.
Do you guys not know how locks work? Like, they're supposed to be that can't lose. Like, they're supposed to be automatic.
You're still 4 and 6 overall.
Yeah, by the way, when do we start keeping track overall records? Like, why see the Colts record? They'll include 2023.
Oh, we can
25 season, Robbie.
Hold on. We can talk about JFK and that history, but not the lock history.
Yeah, because that's flimsy. This is we're turning over a new leaf. We're looking forward, Robbie.
Get out of here. Get all the way out of here. All right, my lock of the week. I will be honest. The more I watch Ohio State, the more I really, really like them. So the Buckeyes, as we've mentioned, are on the road Friday night at Texas A&M. They're going to be a dog. Give me all the points for the Buckeyes. They're going to cover in Aggieland against Wade Taylor and his 40-shot Texas A&M Aggies. Ohio State covers on the road at Reed Arena and College Station. So there's your locks of the week. We will post those as we move along through the week and the weekend. So this is a great time for Nick to go through what could be one of the most bizarre stories I think I've ever heard, and then on top of that, maybe get one of the biggest wins of the week. It is time for one of your favorite segments, and mine as well. It's Nick's Funny of the Week.
Robbie, this is the easiest one ever. I mean, if for people who do not see, I'm not going to do other nominees because there's just one, Robbie. Does you have the exact tweet from John Goodman in front of him? If not, it's all good.
John Goodman or John...
yes. What's his first name?
Jeff Goodman. Yes.
For people who do not see, he tweeted randomly on a last Friday night that Auburn's team plane, private plane, had been what's the word like?
So here's the official. I got the tweet right here.
Yeah, you have it.
Auburn plane returned back home due to horseplay between players on the flight that could have escalated into a fight. Auburn was about 45 minutes en route and had to return home. Source said they're expected to take another plane to Houston later that night.
First of all, when was the last time anybody's heard the word like horseplay?
Horseplay. What are they, 5 years old?
Yeah, it's literally like two little kids, like, I don't know, throwing sand at each other.
Okay, one of my favorite part. My favorite part of all of this is the tweet directly below Jeff Goodman's tweet. It's at Nick Perkins, and his tweet is, "I just put the mortgage on Houston." Whoops!
First of all, it was a fist fight.
Yes. Is that horseplay now, I guess? Fist fights are horseplay? Okay.
Because the adjective horseplay is so freaking funny. The fact they had to like land the plane, and for no one's heard it yet, this for at least like the pilots, like him talking to the command center. He literally says like, yeah, two basketball players are fighting each other in the back.
Oh my gosh,
which is crazy. And by the way, side note, I've never been on a private plane. I kind of thought you could do whatever you wanted to up there.
I thought so too. If they want to fight, let them go. It's their decision. It's their plane.
what the fellas can't horseplay on a on a plane anymore. But Bruce Pearl found the secret recipe because, like you said, Robbie, they turn around, they win to Houston, they score 46 points in the second half on them.
Wild.
And got the dub. So shout out horseplay.
Horseplay, baby.
So freaking good.
Hashtag horseplay. Freaking incredible that they won that game. So if you go back and watch it, and someone posted a little bit later. So for Auburn, it was in the Vermont game where one of their players, Ja'Kai Howard, I think it was Ja'Kai Howard, you could see him visibly in the corner on every Miles Kelly 3 he made in that Vermont game. He just drooped his head and shoulders and was just so mad watching Miles Kelly go off. Well, just so happens Ja'Kai Howard was one of those guys that got in the fight. So I guess apparently he had issues with seeing another guy go off, and he's just not a very good teammate.
Yeah, that video is crazy. It actually is like you said, he's like a kid whining in the corner. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it.
Where's my ball?
And did you see the other part of the funny of the week, of Pearl's quote after the game?
No.
It should be a fun plane ride home after a big win like that. So
that is a guy that has no shame. He does not care at all about what just happened. That's amazing.
Zero shame. So
fan-freaking-tastic.
Auburn basketball. Congrats to you.
Auburn basketball, getting horsey and getting weird. Fire it up. Love it. All right, let's wrap it up around the campfire with our good pal Dusty, who's going to give us a story to wrap up the midweek map out for the D1 and Done pod.
So I told a story last week about basically humbling myself in a sense, right, about being dunked on and throwing a pass against players, and I got very lucky that went between someone's Ramon Harris's legs, and I looked awesome. So the thing that I feel like gets away from, I would say, my experience is I don't think people understand that when you're playing against that competition every single day, you actually do get better, right?
Yeah.
Like you're playing against the Division I competition every single day. If you don't get better, then you're gone completely. And technically, Purdue Gillespie was on a, quote, day-to-day contract. So
the first NIL player that actually existed we didn't know about.
Correct. The first D1 and Done, of course.
Right.
But one of my favorite stories is when I transferred to Ball State, we were supposed to play, I believe it was Buffalo, and they had a point guard that just shot the lights out. And they played one of those offenses where it's like, hey, we're trying to get shot within 13 seconds of the shot clock.
Sure.
So they basically said to me, hey, when we're doing the scout team, because I was a redshirt that year, just let it rip. And let's just say I let it rip. And I became a very good shooter in college because you're forced to shoot, 1,000 shots a day, essentially. And so we're doing the scout team thing. Funny because at Kentucky, your class schedule would be based on the basketball schedule, but at Ball State, your basketball schedule would be based off the class schedule. So if you had class, you would just leave practice. And it wasn't just me; it was like scholarship players too, because it just wasn't as organized. And so there was the day where they just said let it rip, and I had a moment, which is one of my proudest moments, where I hit 7 straight threes on 7 straight possessions, where they just said let it rip. And my final one, I'll never forget. We're running a fast break, and I'm hitting threes from every single corner. And then my final one, I get a rebound, throw up court to my friend Mo Hubbard, who's still a good friend of mine. He throws it back to me. I'm behind the volleyball line. And this is where I've said before, like the Steph Curry stuff, like where he hits shots from. I used to hit those all the time. And I just pull up from behind the volleyball line. I'll never forget the words Randy Davis, who was a stud, actually has one of the amazing high school basketball story. Randy Davis yells literally as he's closing out to me, "Are you effing kidding me?" And I just drain a 3. And then that was literally my last thing because I had to go to class. And I just hit that shot and ran to the showers. Wow. And it was like the most mic drop moment of my life. So there's your story for today.
So that was the official moment where Billy Taylor said, "That's the Kentucky transfer that we were all talking about."
Yes. And then cut me, about 5 minutes later. But yes.
Funny how that works. That's incredible. Yeah, those. I'm sure we all have a moment of where we just can't miss, and we will never forget it. So that's awesome.
And I'll tell you, all our listeners, Robbie's a great shooter, so he's had those moments too. Where
Had a few of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no one wants to hear about me not missing in an 8th grade basketball game for the A team. Like, no one cares. But I did have a few of those moments.
So I hope you become a better shooter too.
What?
Go ahead, Nick.
Nothing. Never mind. I was going to set up a joke, but you guys going to say something?
Oh, okay. Unfortunate.
Well, I want to give my throwback shout out for the week too.
Okay.
Do you guys know who Dick Harp is?
That name sounds familiar.
Dick Harp?
Dick Harp.
Dick Harp?
Harp is technically his name. Dick Harp took Kansas to the 1957 Final Four. He played at Kansas under Fog Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He coached at William Jewell College or University, whatever the hell it's called. But yeah, he was majority of his career. He coached at Kansas. He was the 4th coach, and from 1956 till 1964, he won the Big 7 regular season championship in 1957, the Big 8 title in 1960. He was the 1960 Big 8 Coach of the Year. Career record of 142-107. I just want to give a shout out to Dick Harp.
Nice. Love it. Which, by the way, so you have me on Wikipedia. It is amazing that these coaches from like the early 1900s, almost all of them not only coached basketball, but they also coached football and like baseball too, which is just, it's incredible that they did that stuff back in the day. That too. Yeah. Crazy. All right, Nick, give me your shout out.
To the CIA for killing JFK.
Oh, boy.
I would hope you become a better shooter, Robbie. Is the CIA helping you? So shout out to them.
I don't.
Read up, kids.
I don't even know where to go at that point.
Shout out to Kentucky. Last night was awesome. How about that?
I'm so glad for you guys. Seriously.
He stayed up. He had to get up early. Stay up for the whole game, as he always does. But so there you go. My dad and Harvey Oswald.
Even a smile on Brian Mills' face.
Mm-hmm.
That's
for
all.
Kentucky, not JFK.
Can we stop? Okay, enough.
I'm having fun.
I'm glad you guys are in a good mood, so I'm happy. So
also Dick Harp Ford too, and then just
Dick Harp and Fog. What a combination.
Yeah. Before we lose our jobs, I'm going to end the show and not even give a shout out. So make sure you check in with us later on social media. Oh, thanks. Shout out to me for keeping this show together. And thank you for listening in, the D1 and Done Pod. For Nick Mills, Dusty Mills, I'm Robbie Donahoe. We appreciate you tuning in for the midweek map out. We'll see you next time.
13-12 is last year at Kansas.
Great.
Also maybe the mob. The mob may have done it as well.
Dick Mob.
Dick and Fog.
I'm not including this. This is not going in the pod. Okay, it's going in. I'm lying.
You sure? Master Sergeant in the U.S. Army for 4 years in World War II.
This guy's awesome.
Make it stop.
Master Sergeant Dick.
Make it stop.
Master Sergeant Dick.
His birthday's tomorrow.
Shout out to Jake Mills. Jake, we appreciate Jake Mills and producer Jake for all he does for our program.
He also served as the director of Fellowship of Christian Athletes for 13 years after leaving Kansas.
Good Lord. We have to end the show. We can't keep going through all of Dick's accomplishments, okay?
He's also an assistant coach for Dean Smith.
All right, that's it. We're done. Bye.
Yeah.
Peace.